I'm Patrick Redfern, Head of Business Development at Celtrino, and in this video today we'll be talking about EDI Managed Services and the Microsoft Dynamics NAV ERP environment and how those are integrated and the services that we provide working with partners and particularly Simply Dynamics.
Hi, I'm Willie Fitzgerald. I'm the Sales Manager for Simply Dynamics. We're a software solutions business based in City West in Dublin, and we provide a product called Microsoft Dynamics NAV. It's all we do. We don't do any other products, so all our focus goes into that.
Maybe you give us some outline as to the typical interplay between the ERP NAV system, the EDI service provision that manages all the messaging for orders and invoices with customers, and how all that fits together for a client.
As part of our ERP projects, when we're deploying Dynamics NAV, it's quite a common requirement that people ask us, can we also integrate with Celtrino or an EDI provider in general? And the reason for that is our customers want to communicate electronically, as you say, with their customers and suppliers and send documents back and forth. So integrating with NAV is quite straightforward. We use web services, which is a live integration model, so information is real time, information flows back and forth, and it works. It's pretty bulletproof. It works and is proven and has stood the test of time down through many projects.
Yeah. Maybe you'll tell us a little bit about actual Microsoft Dynamics NAV in the EDI environment.
Okay, Patrick, thanks. So Microsoft Dynamics NAV is an ERP system. ERP stands for Enterprise Resource Planning, and NAV is a system that's in use by over 100,000 companies globally, including about 500 in Ireland. Its history is it was launched in 1986 in Denmark and acquired by Microsoft in early 2000s, and is part of what's called the Dynamics portfolio of products in the Microsoft family. Okay, so Patrick, maybe you'd like to explain to people what is EDI in practice, how it works.
Right, I suppose EDI stands for Electronic Data Interchange, and it's been in existence since the Berlin Airlift, believe it or not, and it's the machine-to-machine structured messaging that takes information from one computer system and gets it to another faultlessly, errorlessly. It consists of three world standards: EDIFACT, which would be pan-European, and there's Tradecoms, which is a British standard, and then there's ANSI X12, American Standards National Institute Standards, X12, which is the US standard. Essentially, the world of EDI is built around those three standards, and then the VANs, the value-added networks, move that across countries and borders. It's a global service. So, Willie, obviously, you've developed an adapter technology for the Microsoft NAV product. Celtrino and its network of standard managed services have now 174 services that are available to clients. They are right across the globe, from European organizations, US organizations, or obviously Ireland and the UK. So that means that possibly everybody you want to trade with and your customers, people out there know that your customer is going to say to you, you have to do EDI with us or we don't trade, and it has to be done usually at a moment's notice.
Yeah.
So Willie, do you find that that's typically the way that a customer comes to you and says, yeah, what we have to do and when we need to get it done?
Yeah, so I guess if we had to pick a sector where we're specialists in or we do a lot of work in, we'd probably say food and beverage, or maybe also manufacturing. And those customers are typically selling products into large multiples, your Tesco's and Super Values of the world.
Yeah.
And these are the guys that are driving the EDI requirements, the large multiples. They're telling their suppliers that they want to communicate with them electronically, which means they want to communicate via EDI. ERP, similar to your EDI, has been around since computers have been around, but change has happened and is happening at a faster pace than ever in the ERP world, incorporating EDI services. And one of those, as you mentioned, is Microsoft Azure, which is the cloud platform that Microsoft use. So these days, when people are buying Dynamics NAV or any ERP solution, they have more and more of them are deploying in the cloud. That's especially true of small businesses who've got no IT resources in-house. And that's one of the other objectives of Microsoft and all software vendors, is that more small businesses invest in ERP systems. And they enable this by making the product easier to install, easier to implement, which affects the price point, and easier to use. One of the Some of the differentiators with NAV compared to other ERP systems are that there's a large partner channel. Even for example in Ireland, there are 7 partners like Simply Dynamics who are supplying NAV, and that differentiates us from Sage or SAP, where the partner channels are quite small and limited. Another differentiator which feeds into what we're talking about here today is that it's a very open and flexible product and can be customized as much as we need it to. And how that benefits us as regards EDI is that we've written an add-on for NAV that can manage EDI messages within NAV.
The future of EDI is really only beginning. We have the evolution of EDI in the public sector. What we've been talking about in this video has been all B2B, business to business. Business to government, B2G, is only beginning right across Europe and most of the Western world. And that's a standard called PEPL, and Celtrino has been one of the founding developers of the PEPL standard within the European community. And the beauty of what Celtrino will be doing with all its partners is that we will maintain the same interfaces where possible to actually deliver the PEPL service. So the investments for integration, development costs and the time cycles will be incredibly short. Costs will be quite similar to standard managed services.
Thanks, Patrick. And just from day to day, what does this actually look like in the real world?
Well, it looks like a company will typically, the world of a business cycle, a trading cycle, will begin with an order being placed from a buyer to a supplier organization, and so that order will be an EDI order, and it will be collected electronically. It'll be transmitted into the ERP system to be posted out as an official purchase order. It'll be transmitted over the vans, and then it becomes an order, possibly an order response. But then it becomes a dispatch advice, so an electronic dispatch advice is then issued to warehouses or to any store location, and the goods are picked and dispatched, and then once they're received, the electronic invoice arrives at the end of the cycle, and then there's an electronic payment. So the whole pay-to-pay cycle becomes electronic, touchless, lights out. That's the idea. So just, I suppose, Willie, to wrap up, I suppose we'll try and help the viewers a little bit in terms of what happens when certain things are, you're facing certain situations, what to do. So I suppose from an EDI service provider, number one is that if you're not happy with your current service provider, you just get in touch with us and we'll start the dialogue and see what we can do to help. Secondly, if you're having trouble, and it's quite complex sometimes, that a customer has started a project with you but it's not actually progressing and not making progress, and it's at risk, that your business is at risk, then get in touch with us. Also, if you're finding that your current infrastructure is interface-wise overly complex and causing massive delays, then you can get in touch with us for that reason. We have people here who deal with the SAP environment from IDOC all the way down to little SAP. Okay, Willie, thank you very much for today. So the contact details will appear on the screen. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Patrick. Pleasure.
Thank you. Very good. Done.